My name is Phyllis Alexander. My birthday is March 13th, 1946.
1946. All right. So tell us, you grew up here in Mooresville?
Yes, Mooresville is my home.
Which area did you grow up in?
Mostly on Biltmore Avenue, Bell Street area was my younger days. And then as time went by, during school times too, I came on this side of town, Sharp Street. I lived on Sharp Street, which is over here, Eastern Height. And when I got married, I'm still in this area.
Okay. So growing up on Bell Street and Biltmore, what were some of the activities you all did as children and teenagers?
Well, for one, we had Mothers of the Community, which was really wonderful. On Bell Street, we had Mothers, Mrs. Mary Salmonton. That was Biltmore Avenue. And on Bell Street, we had Mrs. Walker. And they usually would take care of the children in the neighborhoods, to keep us intact whereas it is. We had play together, we would listen. Now on Patterson Avenue, I had friends. Carolyn, I can't remember Carolyn's last name, but Dickie Flemings, he's on Patterson Avenue, which he's still living now. And Barbara Irvins, the Irvins, and it was a store, Bruce Bean's store. So we got along real well, growing up on that area of town. And I really enjoyed it because Patterson, we would go to the store. And then my granddad had a store, which was Dave Byers and Leachy Byers. My mother was in New York, and my dad was out of town. He was in the service. So my granddad had this store. It was, in which he sold to Vance Nails. And like I say, when we would go and play in the areas, we would play on Bell Street, and we had street dances. They closed the street off. We had street dances, and I don't want to forget Miss Hester Promise. She was a mother of the community too, and it was real, good. It was a good life.
When did the trailers come in the Bell Street area?
The trailers, yes. My granddad, Mr. David Byers. That Bell Street area used to be a cotton field, because I'm gonna say Daddy, because I call him Daddy. Daddy used to have a cotton field back there in that area, and people would pick cotton back there before the trailer park was started. So, and then it wasn't long, it was a trailer. They put the trailers back there, but first it was a cotton field.
Well, that's interesting to know, because I grew up in the trailer park and had no idea it was a cotton field. So
that was a cotton gin up on, I'm gonna go up on Patterson, because we had stores up there. Mr. Newman's store was right there on Patterson. Across the street, Mrs. Cook's store, and on across there was a cotton gin. Up on States Avenue, and all that was tore down now, but it was back then years ago. I can't comprehend the dates of the years, but before that, you can remember that the area was a trailer park, and it was a cotton field.
Was Mr. Vance Neal, his store there, did the community come in and support him, or was it just the neighborhood?
Yeah, everybody came to the store. Yes, when my granddad had the store before the bands, the community was there, like on Patterson Avenue, Mr. Bruce Beams, that was that area on that end of town. You go up on Nolan's store and then Miss Cook's store. They all was affiliated, you know, and the public, we all went in all those stores.
Okay. So you were able to freely go in. 'Cause I remember the Bean store, that was on the corner right there, a bit more.
That's Patterson.
Patterson, okay.
Yeah.
And the church, now when did the church come on that area, Faith Church? Was that there before the community or?
I don't remember too much about when it was there, but it was there because we used to pass by when we were kids. We would walk to Watkins Chapel. You know, the kids on Bell Street and Biltmore, we would go bypass and the church was there.
Okay. So what school, can you tell us about your school life, attending school? Was it
High
child?
school life, Dunbar High School. Well, when we lived on Biltmore, we would come down Bell Street and we would make a shortcut. We had shortcuts we could come to get to West End, Gant Street, and that area. We would go, and we call it the reservoir. We would cross over the reservoir and go up a hill. You had to climb those hills to get across there so we could get in that area to get, you know, to the area to get to Dunbar High School. And then on up off of Westmore, it was a pastor, and we had to come up Westmore to get in the pastor to go to Dunbar. Yeah, so.
Was there a creek back there?
It was a creek in both areas, yes. And the reservoir was a big, you know, round water, and they had fenced in. It was a dangerous area then. I would love to go back up in there, but I'm scared now because it's so, you know, closed up now. Yeah.
That's something, because I remember the reservoir, and I remember taking a walk from Bell Street to over there. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so growing up in Mooresville, you went to Dunbar. Was there a teacher or a staff member that was instrumental in, you know, growing you up, or did you have a favorite person?
Well, I had a lot of teachers that I found a lot of. Mrs. Claire Neelan, she was a fourth grade teacher, and if you didn't listen and learn, we had to learn our Bible verses. Back then we used to have chapels, you know, when we had to learn Bible verses. Mrs. Coleman, I remember her. She was a sixth grade teacher. Starting back at the first grade was Miss Caldwell. Then Mrs. Mosby, second grade. And I remember high school was Mr. Riddick, Mr. Sherrill, which Mr. Sherrill I didn't know then was a relative of mine, and he was hardcore on all of us. Mainly, I used to tell his dad we have family reunions. He was really hard on me. He started the merit system, you know, because he wanted us, you know, to be, whereas it is, you know, not be troublemakers in school. And if you get 10 demerits, then you get dismissed from school. I got 9 one time, and I was walking on eggshells.
Oh my!
And because he made it hard for me, and I would always tell him that. But he was a great teacher, and I really loved him. And through the years and family reunions, and we used to have, he would speak for us. You know, he'd come back. You know, when we have programs for the Dunbar Alumni Association.
What were you doing to get 9 demerits?
I don't know. I stayed in the something. Maybe because you know, you'd be in the hall, and I might have been late. I might have been talking, and it was. I didn't call myself a troublemaker in school though, but I had to walk the chalk line because Mr. Woods was the principal. You know, he was a great principal, you know. He would talk to us, and he would tell us, he want us to do and learn. And he would say, I never forget one time he was telling, get the girls together. What happened in the dark comes to the light. So, be sure to study, and do well. And I played basketball. We had basketball. That was mainly good back, during our time in school. We would travel to different places, We did win trophies. And other than that, for school, I enjoyed high school and elementary school.
In your school, it was segregated?
No, it wasn't
Desegregated?
It was desegregated.
Okay. So did you go through all your school segregated?
Yeah, desegregated. Yes, I did.
So how was the race relation here in the Mooresville area?
Well, the race, and during my time, that's why I was talking about, Patterson and, Biltmore and Bell Street. So mostly on Patterson, most of my friends were white. And even now, today, Barbara Evans, we talk about that, we, her home was right across in front of Miss Bruce Bean's store. And she lives in Fieldstone now. And Dickie Fleming was a policeman, and Dickie lives over there, in Norris, next, he was Norris's neighbor and Cheryl's neighbor. And I really enjoyed, and the Bean store, we, it wasn't no animosity, between us growing up. We got along, we loved each other, in that area. Not that I'm saying, it wasn't a lot of things that was going on, whereas it was that people didn't love or have because of our race, it was prejudice. It was here in Mooresville, black and white, it's prejudice, But as far as that, I got along,
Was there an incident that you knew about in the community that, caused an uproar or riots or anything? Were there any things like that experienced?
Not that I know of. I do remember years ago, we used to, Mr. Jimmy Campbell, he was the head of the NAACP back then. The Ku Klux Klan used to march, down Main Street. And then we would go, we have NAACP meetings, and we would go uptown, and they would say that they would have permits. They had the right to march. I used to stand right on Main Street, and I would see them come down Main Street. I didn't, it was a group. I didn't have no pictures or anything, but it's in my mind that they were marching. I remember that.
Shopping wise, I know you shopped in your neighborhood, but what about clothing and things? Was Main Street?
Street, Peggy's, Pops. That was a shoe store, right there at the bank at, what's that? Not Wells Fargo. Is that Wells Fargo on the corner? Yeah. That statue that's right there. Yes, that's Peggy Pop. Peggy's store was right across the street. And I remember shopping in her store, Wires Floors. I remember going in there, the 5 and 10 cent store. We used to have to go in the back. But the ladies were real nice. I remember those two little ladies that used to run in the 5 and 10 cent store. And then Sally's Grill, we used to have to go in the back store. In fact, my mother was a cook. She worked at Sally's Grill. I used to keep one of the ladies' little board so she could work. And I used to love to wash his hair because when you wash his hair, it curl up. And for us, I remember back then, how it was when we couldn't go in the front door. And I remember Jahos, they were Africans, they came here. And they could, I think it was at Faith Church. They was a preacher. He was a preacher. Or they were in school with us or something. But they could go in the front door. We couldn't. And they were African. So I remember back then that had happened.
So the Jahos, because I hadn't heard of them. What did they do?
I'm trying to think if they were preachers or teachers or something. It was one of the two. It was one. But they did come here to live, you know. They were Africans. Years ago.
The menu at Sally's, because I've heard Sally's before. What was the menu like there?
Oh, it was just like regular food that they have now. You know, they had an order. You had to place orders, hot dogs, hamburgers, and food in general, salads.
I remember my mom said hot dogs was her favorite.
Mm-hmm.
She said the hot dogs.
Yeah, it was.
Yes. Well, with the way things have grown in Mooresville now, what is your vision, or did you see this happening, this growth in Mooresville?
I never thought I would see it, but thank God I'm here to see it. And I don't like new moors, but I like old moors. What can you say? Like we usually have meetings with the mayors, you know, Miles, and now we got Chris Conner. And in both times in some of the meetings that we have talk, I say, well, why can you stop growth? They say you can't stop it, but something need to be done because it's getting overpopulated. And we would tell them that. But I have met people that come here, and I have had friends, you know, they live 28117. I call that New Moors, but 28115 is old Moors. Okay, I had a friend one time, she was in the car with me, she had moved here. She said, well, I don't know nothing about this side of town. I said, this old Moors, you ain't New Moors, you know, on this side. And, but the traffic, it's certain times, it's certain areas. I pick my time to go to drive there because I never thought I'd see bumper to bumper. I used to come down through town or go out of town, and people would say, where do you live? I would say, Mooresville, close to Charlotte. Now you can say Mooresville, we well known, you know. And I had traveled a lot after I had got married. You know, my children, they in the military. My son made 30 years Air Force. My daughter and them, they're here back, you know, they doing their college years. I thank God they back here at home. My son, he decided to live in Augusta, Georgia, to stay close to get to Mooresville. That's about 3 hours away. I traveled, I went to England and I went to Hawaii, and I enjoyed those times of traveling. But right now, I done got used to where it is, where I would go and stay, you know, 2 or 3 months. You go to England, you stay a while, you go to Hawaii and stay a while. But now, I'm at the age now, I'm 3 days, I'm ready to come home. I want to come home, you know. But anyway, I enjoyed my life here at home. I left one time. I used to say, if I leave, I'm going to leave more than I ain't never coming back. Honey, I left more than one time. I went to Washington, D.C. Those people up there, they partied a lot, man, back then, years ago. I sent for a bus ticket. That's when the bus would come to Pikes Filling Station. Honey, my mom and dad sent me a ticket. I got off that bus, I could kiss the ground. Mooresville, I was glad to see it. City life. I'm not a city person. I love Mooresville. You know, that's
what part of D.C. were you at? Do you remember Southeast, Northeast?
It was northwest. It was northwest. They lived in apartments, you know. And it was, I'm just not a city person, you know. But I was glad to have that experience. I know years ago, my mother, one time after she left, and we stayed with my granddad and grandmother on Biltmore. And she went to New York, and she would send, you know, back to help, me and my brother. And for us that a city, I sent off, that's when you could stay on campus with the people that you live with and work there. I sent off for a ticket. My mother sent that ticket back, which I had that experience in DC. I said, well, I'm glad she did, because I wouldn't have been a city person. I wouldn't.
So growing up, you got married, you had your children. What type of work or employment did you?
My employment, my first job was Mooresville, was low-res hospital. I was 15 years old. At the old hospital, I worked in the housekeeping department. And we did different floors, we had to do our jobs, on the floors. And we did it was a family orientation, whereas it was the employees back then, we all knew each other, we got along. Even the administrator, I remember Mr. Edwards, he was, the administrator. I had seen probably 2 or 3 administrators during my life. And when I was at Lorax, then I come out in the textile work. I had did textile at Templon. I did at Mooresville, Burlington, and then I wound up after the hospital work. I wound up at Ingersoll Rand where I retired, and that's distribution work, and I enjoyed that.
Now you're retired and you're able to travel if you want to travel or relax and be involved in the community. And I know the growth, you don't really like it, but are there some good points? The growth here in Mooresville that you would share?
Well, I would say, for as we need, I wish they'd slow it down a little bit, and for as we, I try to stay busy, I remember the whole chapel, Los Amigos, and we'd be out, you were a sister, but our work is by being a member of the Los Amigos. I'm a member of the NAACP. I love working in the community. And I have met people and I have friends, to help me, and my sisters, what we do to go out in the community. We work with the kidney foundations, our work.
Well, church life, we know faith is a big part of our lives, and how would you explain your church life, your faith? What church did you go to? What are some activities and things that you all did at your church?
It was a walking chapel and Zion Church.
Okay.
I remember I joined that church when I was 12 years old. During that time, Mrs. Selma Bird was a member of my church.
Okay.
Mrs. Mill, that's her sister. I remember Mrs. Cofield, that's their mother. And during that time, I remember being Mrs. Mary Dunlap. She's a relative of theirs, of the Caldwell family, the Kinson's family. Growing up in my church, fellowship. I love working in the church and the community.
Well, is there anything else that you can think you want to share about Mooresville, or say this is a legacy that you're leaving for your children and for the citizens of Mooresville? This will always be available on, out there online somewhere. So is there, they can always come back and look at it and say, there's Mama. So is there anything you'd like to share, or, that you just need to tell us?
I would like to see more of them. To just keep the group where it is, that we all stay in unity, fellowship, love one another, help each other. And in due time, whereas it is, we can just keep the growth whereas it is. It won't be too overpopulated.
Right.
And
So what do you think is drawing that population down?
because of the people that I have met, they would say they come to visit or either they have relatives here. I would ask them, how do you know about me? Relatives and friends, and they get on the internet and computer wise, and they come here. And the ones that I have met, and fellowship with, they are good friends of mine. I had a friend yesterday. She came to my home. She's a white lady. She's sweet as she can be, and she helps me with my church things if I need. She order things for me, and it's just Mooresville's all right. But I never thought I'd see the growth like this, which it is. I just hope and pray it will continue where unity. I want to see unity for all of us, black and white. Not only black and white, you can't say that anymore. It's for everybody.
All right, well, that concludes our interview, and I thank you so much. We're going to have this online, and we thank the Mooresville Library for helping us to get our thoughts and get them saved, and something that we can always have out here to share with our family and friends. Thank you so much.
And thank you for having me.